Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day of 2022, and I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Today, we're going to be taking a look back at 2021. We're going to be looking at what units I think were the best, which ones were prime PvE material, prime PvP material, which TMRs were the best, which VCs are the best. We're going to cover it all. Let's go ahead and dig in. All right, starting us off for the best of 2021, we are going to be doing a #1 PvE waifu. Now, what you'll notice is I have a lot of contenders on the screen. Of course, these ladies are not the only ladies that have come out in 2021. But I would say these are some of the better ladies. You know, I'm not really sure why Summer Ketone is on there, but somehow she made it onto my list over Charlotte, which Charlotte should be on there instead of her. So just pretend that Summer Ketone is Charlotte. Now, what's most important here is going to be the ladies up at the top. Now, remember, we are going to be considering all of 2021. So kind of the prime contenders here are going to be, of course, Summer El Sorel. We're going to have the wonderful 2B, the fantastic Tifa, Black Rose Helena, and Yuna. Now, in a different competition, and say a PvP competition, Elena might make this list. And Elena, of course, has had a lot of really strong PvE opportunities to shine. However, when we're looking at the grand scheme of 2021, Elena just hasn't had as much time as, say, Yuna or 2B or Black Rose Helena to really shine. So that is why those ladies are sitting heftily up at the top. Summer El Sorel, of course, is my personal favorite. I understand a lot of people might not place her there, but I take her on all of my PvE missions and I love her a lot. Now, when we're looking at winners for PvE waifus, there are a lot of things to consider. And I think a lot of people looking at this list might immediately say that Yuna should be the winner. And I think, honestly, there's a tight competition here. I think the competition is between Yuna and between Tifa. And the reason I think that is Yuna is able to solo a lot of PvE content by herself, but she does require a lot of buildup, right? You're gonna have to have the Bahamut VC for her. You're gonna have to have, you know, potentially Scion's VC if you want to kind of pull her to her max potential in a party setting. Whereas Tifa is free and she doesn't require nearly as much setup as Yuna is to be successful. So our #1 PvE waifu is going to be Tifa. She's free, she was new player friendly, she's not 100 cost, she's a multi-dimensional unit that can do a lot of things as a brawler, and you know, it is a little bit of a drawback that she is a collaboration unit. But I think the fact that she was given for free, the fact that she is so incredibly powerful, is going to lead her to be one of the strongest PvE waifus of 2021. Now, I understand a lot of people may be saying, well, Diggs, you know, Yuna was the best for me, or Black Rose Helena was the best for me. You have to understand that when making these considerations, I think about all types of players, and a lot of players are not in that top 1% player bracket that maybe, you know, watch my videos religiously and are really high-end players in top 50 guilds. This decision was really made with retrospect to casual players in mind. Now, for those of you wanting the best unit, we are going to talk about that when we get to the PvP section. But for PvE, I'm definitely going to say that Tifa was the #1 best waifu out there this year. Now, PvE husbandos is an interesting situation. And again, I don't have them all listed on here. But I would say the honorable mentions for the top kind of competitive slot go to Cloud, Tidus, Kingmont, Jaden, and Zazan. I think a close second is going to be Moraga and Oberon. Of course, the problem with Moraga is that he's kind of gate-capped by the Earth Select quest, and Oberon has kind of just recently come out. So in the grand scheme of things, if we're thinking about, you know, units that have been really powerful and really capable over the span of the whole year, Oberon's not really going to make that cut. Honorable mention here to Camillo and Prompto. Unfortunately, Prompto just doesn't have the impact that, say, Tidus or Tifa have had in the past. And I think Camillo, when he first came out for the Light Select quest, was actually really powerful. And I loved using Camillo. He was gatekept by the Light Select quest as well, but he is viable in a lot of PvE content. So the question is, out of all of these, which unit is the strongest in PvE? And I think it really comes down to two competitors, very similar with the last one. And I think it comes down to Cloud and Tidus. And we're going to give it to Tidus this time. And you'll see here that the options are literally the exact same as Tifa's, because he is free. He was a new player friendly unit. He's not 100 cost. He's a multi-dimensional unit. He is a collab unit, but he was given for free, versus, say, Cloud, who you had to pull for, who had a vision card that you had to pull for, and an Esper if you really wanted him to be optimal. And honestly, building Tidus to work effectively over the course of 2021 was a lot easier than, say, making Cloud work in a lightning slash composition. I think water is much more of a universal element for people. It's very similar. When I think about water, I kind of think about ice. Like, it's a lot of mismatched pieces, but you can make like water slash work really well, especially if you're a new player with like Ildira, right? Because that Ildira that you have for free leveled is going to synergize with Tidus, and you can do water slash. Whereas with Cloud, you're going to have, other units to really bring out his highlights. Yes, he has solo capability, but remember, Tidus also has solo capability, and Tidus has been around a lot longer than Cloud. He was also the most used unit in Arena when we had it was the 1 year anniversary, 1.5 year anniversary survey, where they kind of released data on the game, and he was the most popular unit overall. So Tidus is going to go ahead and bring this home. If you disagree with me, I would love to hear in the comment section. I'm sure tons of people have opinions on this. We may have to do another list where we like tier list the husbandos and the PvE units, but I really think Tidus is going to take this home. Number 1 VC for 2021 is actually not nearly as controversial, I think. Almost all vision cards are good vision cards, and almost all specific vision cards are really good. But the vision cards that really shine are the universal vision cards that you can use no matter what the situation, no matter what your circumstances. You can put them in the party. They're good. They have abilities with them that are effective. I think about 2020, right, in reflection, and I think about like Ildira's VC, right? Ildira's VC, very powerful. Universal, has a great ability attached to it. So when I look at the 2021 VCs, kind of one thing I immediately think about is Bahamut, right? Bahamut was a huge deal when he came out, but Bahamut was really a big deal because light compositions and Yuna were a big deal, right? On his own, Bahamut as a VC is not probably the best VC in the game for 2021. I actually think a lot of VCs are very character dependent, and I think that's problematic. Some of them are kind of, diverse, but for this reason, I'm going to go ahead and give the universal number 1 VC of 2021 to Black Rose Helena's VC. Now, this came out back in January, and honestly, with the agility up on it, with the relevant, character buff, with the ability, it's a universal vision card that you can place no matter what. Agility is always good in PvE or PvP. If you are in a rainbow formation or a non-rainbow formation, this vision card is going to be good and effective for you. I think the Black Rose Helena VC is probably next to the Ildira VC in terms of the best VCs that have come out in the game. I think, it's also one of the last VCs that was kind of universal in nature before we kind of shifted to very specifically elemental VC buffs. And for that reason, I think everybody should have the Black Rose Helena VC. And I think for, seasoned players, for new players, this vision card is going to be really good no matter what. Now, we're going to get into the TMR section before we get into PvP, but there have been a lot of TMRs that have come out, and a lot of them have come out in the span of the last 3 months. Of course, what I'm talking about is going to be Noctis's TMR, Lucio's TMR, right? Both of them really good. Both of them double cast. Noctis's gives protect. Lucio's gives additional AP. We have the exotic Pareo, which I think is one of the best TMRs in the game, where you can just slap it on a mage of any type and all of a sudden they're going to have access to a heal, which they might use if you're going into like a second battle for guild battle. We have Yuna's TMR, which universally is amazing with protect and shell and a heal. Also kind of a surprising here, I believe it's the Sage's Barrette, I can't remember what it's called, but the luck up TMR, the luck plus 35% from, oh my god, I can't remember who it is. Oh, Earth Book Girl. You know, the luck up 35% really good for evasion. Titus's TMR. We have Black Rose Helena's TMR, which has been universally good. We have Elena's TMR for light and dark resistance. Now, the Elena's TMR moved down just a little bit because, you know, while we're looking at, you know, how good things are on a broad scale, this is only good against light and dark compositions. However, light and dark has made up a lot of the meta, but Elena is still a relatively recent unit. So I'm not going to go ahead and say that Elena's TMR has had the biggest impact on the meta to date. Very similar to Ibarra's TMR, I think the word is kind of out on how powerful it is. I've heard a lot of people talking about Ibarra's TMR with Black Rose Helena for some really powerful, crazy strats. But I'm gonna say, you know, it still hasn't had the impact. It came out in December. It's not gonna be able to kind of be the TMR of 2021. And when I think about the TMR of 2021, and when I think about the TMR that has given me a lot of grief in 2021, I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say Yuna's close. The combination of heals with protect and shell, with instant cast, with a lot of characters being able to equip it, non-healers as well that have magic, which can, you know, heal and protect and shell your party. This is a TMR that is very powerful, and if you can survive a hit and then this is what is used to heal your units, you're essentially granted a victory in PvP. You are, you know, if you're in a PvE situation, you not only have a barrier, but you have a heal now. This is a very powerful kind of universal TMR that I feel like I'm saying universal too much, but I think that's kind of the word, right? When we're thinking about what the kind of most impactful TMRs are, you know, in the game, I think Yuna's clothes were really big for a long time. And maybe that was because of the prevalence of Yuna. Maybe it was because of the prevalence of Black Rose Helena, but I think you would have been hard pressed to find a mage unit that did not have this for quite a long time in global. And I think even nowadays, a lot of global players do have, you know, if it's not Yuna's TMR, it's Black Rose Helena's TMR, it's Garvel's TMR, right? It's kind of one of those like trifecta. You could say Zombie Raryu's TMR as well, but Zombie Raryu didn't come out till 2020, so that's not in our scope of TMRs that are, you know, kind of within our purview right now. In terms of PvP waifus, not much has changed here. I did get Charlotte on the board for this one. Essentially, I kind of broke it down to 2B, Elena, Black Rose Helena, Yuna, and Tifa. I wanted to put Farm on this one because I feel like Farm deserves an honorable mention. I think Farm's time to shine has not kind of happened yet, and I think she's one of the more underestimated units in terms of units that have come out that people kind of have slept on. I think everybody knows Farm is going to be good, everybody knows Farm is going to be powerful in a water composition, but nobody has Farm built because they've decided to pull on limited time units, and so they've kind of let their farm slack or their pull on Farm, so we haven't seen a lot of farms. But I think in 2022, well, I mean, she's a 2021 unit, so maybe we'll have to do like a 2021 year end to 2022 first half year end and kind of see if Farm hits the list there. But in terms of the ladies and the ladies who have had the most impact on PvP and competitive PvP, there's really only two choices over the course of the year, and that is going to be Black Rose Helena and Yuna, and we're of course going to give that to Black Rose Helena. Universally, Black Rose Helena, probably, I would argue, the best unit in the game. She might not be the best unit in the game right now, but for 2021, she was absolutely the best unit in the game. No question about it. If you didn't have Black Rose Helena, you were hurting, whether it was PvP, PvE, whatever it was. We're talking specifically PvP here, and Black Rose Helena dominated the meta for an extremely long time. So Black Rose Helena, #1 PvP waifu. She is going to be taking it home. Now, for PvP husbandos, there is kind of a lot to consider here. Again, Oberon and Noctis, not really meta defining. Oberon a little bit. I put Oberon down below. We're still seeing light comps as opposed to like Oberon compositions. So I don't think Oberon really kind of defined the meta. Very similarly, Tidus did not define the PvP meta either. It really came down to King Mont, Jaden, and GL Zazan. And when it comes to the impact, King Mont was replaceable, right? You could replace him with Warrior of Light. You could replace him with potentially Dwayne. You could replace King Mont. So it really comes down to GL Zazan and Jaden. And I think when we're looking at the combination of these two, GL Zazan, part of his power level was when he was entered into the game. You know, right when... it was either right after Final Fantasy VII, I think it was right before we got Charlotte, GL Zazan showed up, which completely disregarded Charlotte. It really just put a damper on Cloud, and he really disrupted our kind of lightning meta that we were expecting. It still showed up a little bit, but definitely GL Zazan kind of changed things in that era. Whether or not it's because he became really powerful and it was his impact, I would say is up for debate. He's definitely a powerful meta-defining unit, but I think when he was released is very important to consider with him. Jaden, on the other hand, I think is just a powerful unit, and he was kind of the end of the Black Rose Helena Dwayne era, I would say. And there's things to consider with Jaden that we don't consider very often. And of course, Jaden is going to be the #1 PvP husbando. He's light element, he's versatile, he's magic based. And I think probably the biggest thing with Jaden, particularly in class match, is that he has powerful cost-based synergy, right? He can pair really well with Engelbert. He can pair really well with EX Fina, right? Like these, you know, combinations of power, like really powerful MR unit to pair with him, really powerful UR unit that's a tank. You know, he's powerful on his own. Pairing him with that is really just define the meta, you know, since he kind of came out. And in class match particularly, we see this. In PvP, we see this. In guild battle, we see this. Jaden is just kind of the talk of the town, and that's kind of the way of it right now. Anyway, everybody, that's all I had for the best of for 2021. We may have to do a second video where we talk about some other best of 2021s, because I did not talk about, you know, best thigh tier list of 2021. So if you guys do want me to do another tier list video or another best of 2021 for like butts, thighs, and I don't know, forearms, whatever it is that gets you going, let me know. You know, these are some of the videos that I love making the most. If you guys want to support me, you can use my affiliate link, dig.gs/coins. You can turn up to my stream, say hi, you can donate, you can super chat on YouTube, you can do all of that. So, you know, probably the best thing you can do is leave a comment and let me reply, because I'm curious what everybody is going to think about this video. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much, and I hope you guys all have a good rest of your day.